You be all in your feelings. I've been all in them trenches. Know they notice me flexing.
What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to your clothing guide, the Hoxton Trend. Guys, I hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's keeping safe, and I hope all of you guys and all of your families are doing as well as you possibly can, okay? Now, as promised, I'm going to be doing as much videos as I can, so I've been banging those videos out to keep you guys entertained while you're chilling out at home. In this video, what I'm going to be doing is looking at 3 different uber expensive brands, and I'm going to be looking at their hoodies. I basically get quite a lot of questions from followers asking me whether they think that certain brands are actually worth it. So in this video, what I thought I'll do is cover 3 super expensive brands and give my thoughts on whether they're actually worth it or not. Now, in this video, I'm going to be looking at the materials, I'm going to be looking at the quality of these hoodies, and I'm going to be giving my general overall thoughts and let you know exactly whether I think they are worth it or not, okay? Now, before I crack on with this video, it'd be really good if you guys can go ahead and smash that like key for this video, and also go ahead and subscribe to the channel, okay? Now, lots of followers out there actually think that we should be on way more subscribers that we are on now. They also feel like we should be doing a lot more views than we should be doing, and the best way that you guys can go ahead and help is to make sure that you like the video, also subscribe, and watch the video for as long as possible. Now, you can also go ahead and leave some comments on the comments box below, and that all really helps the YouTube algorithm to really kind of push this video and get it seen by as many people as possible. Now, on some of my other videos, you guys went ahead and did that, and that all really helps, and I want to get to 100k as soon as possible, but I can't do it without your help. So make sure you help us out as much as possible by liking, commenting, and subscribing, okay? Now, without further ado, I'm going to get right into these hoodies, see exactly what they're saying, and give you my full thoughts and honest opinions on them, okay? Let's get into it. 2 seconds. Right, guys, so this is the first hoodie that I'm going to try on. It's actually the Givenchy hoodie, and it costs £829, which is pretty expensive just for a hoodie. Is it really worth it? We're gonna find out real quick, okay? What I want to do, whilst I've got the hoodie on, whilst we're on the subject of really expensive brands, I'm gonna try and break down a little bit of history on some of these brands, just so we can see where they're coming from and try and get some understanding as to why these brands are so expensive in the first place, okay? Now, Gucci is one of the most well-known and beloved brands in the world. Everyone knows about Gucci. Gucci really is prominent in high society and fashion circles, and their designs are extremely popular amongst celebrities, sports personalities, and basically high-profile social circles. Now, Gucci actually began as a small company in Florence, Italy, and it was established in 1921. Now, he developed luggage and small leather goods with designs that appealed to like British nobility. He catered to aristocrats, and the brand continued to grow and add other items like fashion accessories and footwear. Now, to be a high-profile fashion brand, there's just certain elements that a brand needs, and Gucci has no exception to all of these brands that are really super appealing. Now, the first is reputation. Gucci has built a mad reputation amongst celebrities, royalties, and high-profile people all over the world. I mean, look at Gucci Mane, for example. Also having the same name as the Gucci brand, he also was a huge fan of Gucci. And for me, personally, I think Gucci Mane is one of those guys that kind of brought Gucci back into the limelight, because not too long ago, Gucci actually wasn't that popular anymore because there were so many fakes going around, and it really kind of hindered the brand. But I really feel like hip-hop culture really helped to excel Gucci back to where it is today. Not only that, but a lot of these designer brands also kind of hire really high profile designers. So, you know, they've come into this kind of streetwear element with these new kind of cool designs, and that's also really helped to push the brand to where it is now and become super popular. Now, Gucci's also known for their leather goods, so a lot of people would say that the Italian leather is amongst the best quality in the world, and the craftsmanship is really good. These brands tend to be really aesthetically pleasing. As for this hoodie, is this hoodie actually worth it? Now, let me just have a look at the materials. The material does feel really nice. It feels really good. I'm just wondering what the makeup of the material is, so I'm just going to have a quick look at that. Right, deep inside, here we go. We've got the label here. So, Gucci. This is 100% cotton. I'll be honest with you, it's not it's not anything special than any other normal hoodie that I've tried on before. Yes, it's 100% cotton. Yes, it actually does feel quite nice. It is quite lightweight, but it's not too light, so the feel and everything feels quite good. I think the finishings on the bottom of the hoodie, I think the finishings of the bottom of the hoodie are a little bit lazy, so usually I like to see, you know, some type of decent finishing at the bottom of the hoodies. But aside from that, I honestly, personally, don't feel that this hoodie is worth £869. With a lot of these brands, it's not really about whether it's worth it. I guess when you're buying into Gucci, you're just really buying into the brand. If you want to talk about Gucci, how Gucci got to where it's got to, it's put a lot of marketing behind their brand, and we're talking several millions. So even though this hoodie costs £869, they've also got to cover their costs, they've got to cover their production costs, they've got to cover their marketing, they've got to cover their brand identity, and that includes stuff like the uber luxurious looking stores, the crazy photo shoots that they go and do, the models that they hire, the people behind the fashion that put the brand together. That's all of a cost as well. So, you know, behind the scenes, Gucci's costs really are astronomical, but that is exactly what it takes in order to get a brand like Gucci perceived in such a luxurious way, okay? As well as that, £869 for a hoodie, when you see someone wearing Gucci, the first thing that you're going to think is, wow, that must be super expensive. That person must be rich. That is a lot of the time the reason why people even buy into Gucci in the first place. The fact that it's £869 is in fact also marketing in itself. How much you price your product to be. A lot of people will turn around and say, oh, £869 for a hoodie is super expensive, I'm not paying that. Then Gucci's really trying to say to you that you are not our customer. Our customer is someone that's going to think, oh, £869, I'm buying myself into that kind of exclusive club that wears Gucci, and when I'm walking around, people are going to look at me in the Gucci top and they're going to know that that hoodie costs several hundreds of pounds. So that is really what you're kind of paying for, really. You're not really paying for just for this hoodie. It's all the stuff that comes with the Gucci culture. The ends of the pull cords are not really finished with anything special. The material feels nice, but you know, I don't particularly think the fit is overly exciting. I don't personally think it's worth it, but then I'm not Gucci's customer. Right, so moving on to the next hoodie. If I tell you how much this one costs, you're just gonna think, wow, this is absolutely crazy. Now this one costs £909, guys, okay? It's nearly £1,000 for a hoodie. Do you think it's worth it? Let's find out. Let me try it on. Right, so this is it, guys. This is the nearly £1,000 Givenchy hoodie. Givenchy is a high-end luxury brand based over in Paris, and it's got a lot of history. So I'm going to go into a little bit of that just so that we can understand exactly where Givenchy is coming from. Because to be honest with you, a lot of the pricing, a lot of the culture, a lot of where the brand ethics come from, and the reason why they're so expensive is because of the history. So Givenchy was started by a guy called Hubert James Taffin de Givenchy, and he was born in 1927 in northern France. At the age of 17, he moved to Paris to pursue his dream as a fashion designer. Now, you gotta think, that's kind of crazy. 17 years old, this guy has just gone ahead and moved to Paris and he wants to become a fashion designer. At 17, a lot of people still don't really know what they want to do. So, especially then in 1927, I can imagine the opportunities were not like how it is now. Now you have so much access to things, so much, you know, you can do fashion on courses, and there's just so much out there, I can imagine, compared to 1927 back then. I mean, in terms of opportunities, but this is what the guy went ahead and did. Now, he took an apprenticeship at a couture house whilst he was studying. He then went on to become an artistic director at a boutique, and is the one responsible for the 1950s, 1960s classical fashion trends while dressing everyone from princesses and first ladies to actors. Even at a young age, this guy was gaining a lot of experience within the scene. Now, earlier on in his career, he would work alongside some of the greatest fashion icons like Pierre Balmain and Christian Dior in order to perfect his craft. He would then go on to open his own fashion house, Givenchy, in 1952 at the young age of 25. He was considered one of the youngest fashion designers in Paris at the time. When he first started out, he opted to use cheaper fabrics to create his designs at the beginning of his career due to his finance situation, but what he lacked in the materials, he made up for in his designs. Later, his creations would earn him a submission into the International Best Dressed List Hall of Fame in 1970. That's that's quite crazy. When you think of it like that, this guy was a very accomplished guy at a very young age. He studied with Christian Dior, he studied with Balmain, and you know, he started his own fashion house at 25. So Givenchy really was kind of really way ahead of his day in terms of such a young guy going in there and just kind of changing up the game a little bit. Coming back to this hoodie, you know, when I kind of saw the hoodie first, I'll be honest with you, the designs online look really cool, but in person, I'm not overly impressed, man. I mean, at £909, I'd really expect a lot of, I don't know, I'll just expect something that will just kind of really stand out and shout £909, and it doesn't shout that at all. On this one, I honestly cannot warrant the £909 price tag, apart from the fact that literally it is Givenchy. Now look, check out the studs. I don't know, I just thought these studs were really lazy. Check them out. I don't know, I just thought they looked really cheap. I'm not impressed with this one, man, to be honest with you. Even the Gucci one at $869, which was very expensive, I would say is a lot better than this. Now let's check out the materials on this. Now this is 100% cotton, made in Portugal. Givenchy is also owned by LVMH, which is part of the Louis Vuitton Moet group. Louis Vuitton went ahead and bought Givenchy ages ago. Now again, just like Gucci, Givenchy's hired their own kind of designers who are really high in their field. So again, they've got more a little bit of this streetwear element for their menswear clothing. I just wasn't overly impressed with this one, to be honest with you. I don't think this one is worth it. There has been some Givenchy hoodies that I've seen in the past where I thought the quality was way better than this particular one that I'm wearing. £909, £1,000, I'm just not too sure, man. But you know, the same thing applies to Givenchy. Their marketing costs are going to be really expensive. Their designers are going to charge them a lot of money, and clearly they're doing a good job because Givenchy is selling out in lots of places. Now, what I read is typically high-end designers are working on a profit margin of 65%. What they're trying to say is, on average, if something costs £1,000 retail, the price of the item actually costs £350 to make. You know, production-wise, not trying to be funny, this hoodie did not cost £350 to make, and I'm definitely not convinced that it would have cost anywhere near that price. If I was to put a production cost on this hoodie, I'm looking somewhere more along the 50 quid mark, to be honest with you. I would be really shocked if this hoodie costs more than 50 to 75 quid to manufacture. They've got millions of pounds worth of costs every year. They spend a lot on marketing to get their brand in a position where it needs to be. Like, okay, I bought this hoodie the other day. I forgot the name of it. I think it's called Sid Accept. Well, I didn't buy it. I was gifted this hoodie by Sid Accept, and I love the quality on this hoodie. And the hoodie costs £90. And if I think about that hoodie compared to the quality of this Givenchy top, that hoodie was better quality than this hoodie, and they sold it for 90, and these guys are selling it for £909. £909. Right, so this is the next and last hoodie. This is the Burberry. I actually really like the look of this hoodie. I think it's really nice. I'm a fan of Burberry, and as we all know, Burberry is super expensive. I love the history of Burberry as well, so I'm going to go into a little bit of that and talk about that. And again, that's going to give us an indication as to why Burberry is so expensive compared to a normal hoodie. So let's look at that. Let me try this one on real quick. Right guys, so this is the Burberry hoodie. I'm a fan of Burberry. I really like Burberry myself. I picked up a jacket and I picked up a couple of knits not too long ago. So I do like Burberry. I think they're really nice. Plus they're kind of like a British heritage brand. So I just feel like you're kind of investing in something which is based in the UK, which is quite cool. Although their production has moved to China over the past decade or so, which is a real shame, because I just think at the price point they sell, it's just a shame that they don't get stuff made over here and just kind of put money back into the economy. But hey, that's a whole another discussion. This was £569. Already compared to the fit of the Givenchy, I'm already really kind of preferring this. I like the feel of it. It feels really nice. The cuffs feel quite luxurious. Yeah, it just feels kind of really nice, and it's the cheapest compared to the rest of the other hoodies, but still pretty expensive at £569. Now, I love the history of Burberry, so I'm going to go into that real quick just so we can understand where Burberry are coming from, okay? Let's begin. So One of the most impressive things about Burberry, I think, is that its founder, Thomas Burberry, according to their website, was just 21 years old when he founded the brand. 21 years old. Born in 1835, his father was a farmer and a grocer. It's noted by the History House that Burberry apprenticed in a local draper as a young man. He had an entrepreneurial spirit. He opened a small shop in the town of Basingstoke in England, where he utilised not only his experience as a draper, but also his knack for business. The first shop was a humble one, and it didn't have many customers to cater to, as Basingstoke at the time only had 4,500 residents. Nevertheless, Burberry managed to turn out his outfitting business into a modestly successful one. By 1861, Burberry was employing 7 men, 7 women and 3 boys in his shop. Now just to think, he started this all when he was 21 years old, and years down the line he's already growing himself a successful business from a store which at that time, you got to think, didn't have internet, didn't have tons of people in the town. So, you know, he's already growing a thriving business, and he's doing this on his own accord, and he's come from humble beginnings. That was really cool. Far from selling luxury goods at the time, Thomas Burberry focused on outfitting people for the outdoors when he first opened his shop. Now, according to GQ, his outdoor ready attire was reportedly favoured by figures like Lord Kitchener, who served as Secretary of State for the war and in the early years of World War I, and Lord Baden-Powell, a British Army officer who became a national hero during the South African War. Now you've got to think, in those days that would be like the equivalent of giving someone super famous at that time your clothing to wear. Like, he didn't give them the clothing, but they just really liked it, and because it was British they went ahead and they wore that. So you can imagine when they're out and about, or when there's pictures being taken and they're wearing the coat, everyone would have been like, wow, who's that coat by? And you know, that's how kind of Thomas Burberry's name got out there, and that's how the Burberry brand really began to expand. So the consensus described him as a draper and manufacturing employer with over 70 people working for him. Burberry was doing so well that he was able to move to a home in Basingstoke with 160 acres of land, and was able to hire a staff of servants on his estate. So he's really beginning to floss now. He's really beginning to grow his reputation and get that financing, all from this brand that he went ahead and grew. Now, of course, the Burberry we all know and love today sells quite a bit more than the outdoor ready attire that he did way back in the 1800s. Now, Burberry transformed himself from a humble shop selling outdoor clothing into one of the world's leading luxury fashion lines. And this all began in 1879 when Thomas Burberry himself invented the waterproof fabric that would end up not only transforming his company, but also fashion as we know it. Burberry was inspired by the way Hampshire shepherds waterproofed their smocks with lanolin. Now, gabardine is made of a tightly woven light cotton fabric. Each thread is wind and water resistant thanks to it being covered in a waterproof coating. Now, according to the Burberry website, rainwear before this was often heavy and uncomfortable, but Burberry's invention of gabardine enabled him to create rain gear that wasn't just waterproof but also light and breathable. Thomas Burberry's invention of gabardine not only revolutionized outerwear but also helped the Burberry brand pioneer the trench coat as we know it today. Burberry trench coat is one of the most enduring and iconic pieces, but the history of the trench coat dates back to more than a century. Now, the funny thing about Burberry is it wasn't always super expensive. In fact, Burberry was almost seen as a little bit of a stuffy brand, especially when I was growing up back in the day. It's only, I would say, I don't know, maybe I think more like the mid 2000s after that, when they got a new designer on board, and he basically changed everything at Burberry. They increased prices, they moved production over to China, and rather than becoming that kind of stuffy kind of country brand that it was known for back in the day, it's now turned into like a really kind of global powerhouse luxury brand with really high prices. I mean, if you've been to their store over in London just by Regent Street, their store's absolutely crazy. It's like you're walking into a palace. So the amount of money that these guys spend a month just to maintain themselves and get the marketing and pay their fashion people and everything like that to keep that brand as luxurious and prestige as possible in people's eyes is an enormous spend. From all the hoodies that we looked at, I think my favorite one actually has to be the Burberry one. Just gonna look at the materials to see what it's made from. Here we go. So this is made from, so it's 100% cotton throughout the hoodie, but then on the cuffs you've got 95% cotton and 5% elastane on the cuffs, which is what gives it that kind of stretchy material. And also the finishing is not too bad. It's not uber exciting. To be honest with you, I think the finishing on the off-white hoodies are far better on these studs. It just looks a little bit more, a little bit more cooler and less lazy in my opinion. But in order of what I like, I personally like the Burberry, followed by the Gucci and the Givenchy. I'm actually just not a fan of that. Even if it was 100 quid, I don't think I'd go ahead and buy that particular Givenchy hoodie. The overall consensus is, for me personally, I don't feel like I'm the demographic that wants to spend £1,000 on hoodies. That's just me. But there is going to be a demographic out there that are going to want to do that, and they're going to want to buy into this brand positioning, this club, this kind of eliteness that the brand gives them, and that ultimately is what they're paying for. They already know that they're not just buying a hoodie because it's £800 and that's it, and they're wondering, oh, it's great quality and this. They're not doing that. They're buying it because they want to buy into that brand and what essentially this brand they feel can give them, which is that kind of elite status. Okay, it really boils down to who's buying the item. It's really what the person buying feels the value is, and that is different for everybody, guys. So listen, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. I hope you found it useful. If you want to see some other items or other brands and get my thoughts and opinions on whether they're worth it, then let me know. I can try and get some items in and do some more reviews to cover for you guys. Okay, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe if you like any of these brands. Don't forget to check out our website, thehoxtontrend.com. You can type in any of these brands and you can get a whole bunch of items that will pop up, and it will show you how to discover these brands from various retailers online, all legitimate of course, and you can even find if there's any of this stuff on sale using our website. Don't forget to follow our Instagram, guys, and that's it. I'll be back again. See you lot soon. Peace out.